by its designer, Frank Stevenson, and covered just over 1,000 miles from new. What a treat, ladies and gentlemen, this 2004 Maserati MC12. Thank you very much to Paul Hogarth for bringing it.
Thank you. Well, here we have it, beautifully driven by Mr. Jorg Woller and his daughter. Nice to see you. 1961 Aston Martin DB4 GT by Turin Superleggera. It may look similar to the road-going DB4s, but that's where the similarities end. It's much rarer. This DB4 GT is one of just 30 built in left-hand drive from a total production of only 75. The chassis was shortened by 5 inches from the road car for better handling dynamics. Gone is the standard cylinder head and replaced with a competition twin plug head with increased compression and power, which increased the overall power to about over 300 horsepower, which was rather a lot for a early 1960s six-cylinder motor. Its rear seats were removed, glass was replaced with perspex, the Allen body panels were thinner gauge, the bumpers removed, and all of this resulted in a 200-pound weight saving over the road car. And then the drivers went on a diet too. Competition successes were forthcoming, and many of the greatest drivers of the period raced DB4 GTs.
And this example was delivered new to her first owner in Switzerland in the spring of 1961, and the car would change hands a further 11 times throughout its life, to owners in France, Hong Kong, the USA, Belgium, Germany, the UK, and finally returning to Switzerland with the current custodian 62 years later. The subject of a recent restoration by marque experts R.S. Williams, the car now presents beautifully. It's a unique original colour of pearl black with a navy interior, as shown in the factory records. The DB4 GT is the sort of car that will be raced on a Sunday and driven to the office on Monday, silverware in the back. And I would add, I had the pleasure of following this motor car around the beautiful roads of Scotland, and I was able to tell the owner that he has a lovely bottom to follow.
How was his driving? How could he keep up in that Caterham?
He's pretty quick. Anyway, good to see you, Victoria. Thank you for bringing this wonderful car. See?
Ladies and gentlemen, what celebration of Le Mans could be possibly complete without a Porsche 917? And here we have a 1969 Porsche 917. Are you feeling a bit cramped in there, Ollie? Not quite enough. Your head bowed down. You were... Newcomer Ford's domination of Le Mans in the late 1960s was bugging Porsche as well as Ferrari. So in 1968, it stretched a 908 chassis and added 4 cylinders to the flat 8 engine, clothing the car in huge coupe bodywork with 15 feet 6 inches long, and the mythical 917 was born. Porsche contracted John Wyer's JW Automotive, known as JWA, the outfit that had beaten Porsche at Le Mans in 1968 and 1969, to run the factory team. And this was to be the beginning of an unbeaten number of outright victories for Porsche at Le Mans. In fact, Porsche has been victorious overall at Le Mans a staggering 19 times so far. And of course, this year, alongside Ferrari and Cadillac, they came back and re-entered that great race. So exciting to see what's going to happen in that renewed battle between Porsche and Ferrari. Powered by the 4.5-litre flat 12 double overhead camshaft, fuel-injected motor with over 580 horsepower, 917s were fierce and scary sports racers. And to quote Anthony Pritchard on the Porsche 917, as these 220-mile-per-hour motorcars screamed through the curves of Spa or thrashed through the rain at Le Mans, they provided a motor-rating spectacle that had never previously been witnessed, and in which, at the time, completely overshadowed Grand Prix racing. And this incredible 917K is one of 25 built, more specifically as chassis number 13 and one of 3 lightweights built, of which only 2 exist, the other residing in the Porsche Museum. It's steeped in racing history with first place finishes at Daytona, Monza and Spa, and this car was also immortalised in the film, having been used in the Steve McQueen film Le Mans. And the present owners, we're honoured to have them here with us today. The present owners acquired the car all the way back in 1973, directly from the Porsche factory, where astoundingly, it was found in the backyard, covered in snow. It's beautifully preserved. It's been in this family for a long time. I believe it was also a wedding car at one point, and we're delighted to have it back here with us at the Concours of Elegance. Thank you.
Off you go, mate. Astonishing to see that 917 come over. You know, as you said, no concourse is complete without that. What a special motor car, especially with that one family ownership for so many years, and they're all here enjoying it. And as you say, it was used as a wedding car, and that was the result of the wedding, driving it. Next, we have the 1967. Yeah, of course. The 1967 Ferrari 275 GTB4 by Pininfarina, brought to us care of Professor Gordon Murray. Now, unveiled at the Paris Motor Show in 1966, the Ferrari 275 GTB produced 300 horsepower from a 3.3-litre V12 engine. The Ferrari has sensational styling with its shapely long bonnet and power bulge indicating the 4-cam V12 underneath. It's adorned with aggressive shark-like gills in the sides to keep everything cool. The 275 GT Berlinetta is achingly beautiful, powerful and versatile, and quite simply one of the most desirable Ferraris of all time. And as such, 275 GTB4 is rightfully revered amongst Ferrari enthusiasts.
And this car, Richard, ladies and gentlemen, boasts impeccable provenance. It's fully matching numbers down to the chassis, body, engine and gearbox, of course, very important in Ferrari collecting circles. Following a recent refurbishment, the car was sent to the Ferrari Concours of Elegance, where it was awarded Platino and First in Class, as well as Excellence in Class at Mar-a-Lago the following day. And to add to its excellent pedigree, its current owner is none other than Professor Gordon Murray, automotive engineer and designer extraordinaire, behind great cars from Brabham to McLaren, and now his own brand, Gordon Murray Automotive. So if it's good enough for Gordon Murray, it's good enough for me. Thank you. That's a great example of the 275 4-cam. GT Berlinetta 4-cam, GTB4. Next up is the 1954 Aston Martin DB4 Drophead Coupé by Bertone, presented by Mr. Mark Fisher. An evolution of the two-seater DB2, a car which was very successful at Le Mans 24 Hours, entered by the factory team. The DB24 had a considerably revised styling treatment, making room for 2+2 seating, and this beautiful Aston Martin DB24 is one of only 6 Bertone-bodied Aston Martin DB2 built, of which only 2 were in fact drop-head coupes, as this car, the brainchild of Stanley H. Wacchiano, a Chicago-based industrialist with a love of British motor cars, who was particularly fond of coach building.
So much so, in fact, that Arnold purchased a stake in Carrozzeria Bertone and subsequently joined the board of directors. And when Aston Martin unveiled the DB24 at the London Motor Show, he felt he had to bless a few with the Bertone treatment, an exciting triumvirate of Italian flair, British engineering and American automotive passion. Unlike the flashier spiders, the drop-head coupes were styled by legendary designer Giovanni Michelotti and were designed to be tastefully subtle. At the front, exposed headlights are mounted on either side of a large nose intake that houses a 5-bar grille reminiscent of the classic Aston Martin shape. Chrome trim draws the eye along the gently arching shape of the car towards the gently finned rear bumpers. When lowered, as you can see here today, the canvas roof stows below a tonneau that's almost flush to the rear deck. Mark, thank you for bringing this wonderful car. It looks delightful and it rallies well. So ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the next packet of motor cars, and you know, we have wonderful motor cars coming through, and they just keep coming. Here's another one, 1971 Porsche 911 ST, brought to us from a private collection. Certainly one of the most desirable 911s ever built. This incredible 911 ST is undoubtedly one of the best preserved factory-built Porsche 911 race cars in the world. It's said that the ST name came from the fact that the model was basically the running gear of 911S in the lighter package of the base model 911T. And despite a hard-driven career competing on the world stage, the car retains all of its original parts and has an astonishing history file.
This particular chassis number was supplied by the Porsche race department on the 10th of February 1971 to an Italian racing driver who specified the car to M491 race specification, and factory records show that it was the very first ST to be fitted with a 2.5-litre engine. Its most significant win came in 1973 when it finished first in class at the 57th running of the Targa Florio. The current owner is entering the car in this year's Targa Florio in celebration of the 50th anniversary of its triumph. Presented beautifully here today in its famous class-winning Targa Florio livery, complete with sponsor decals and race number. And we wish you all the best for the event. Good to see you. Hi, it's you. I didn't realise. Hi. Okay, next please. We are now, Richard, ladies and gentlemen, on the 1961 Alvis TD21 Grabber Special, of course by Grabber. One of the most respected British marques of the early mid-20th century. Alvis, you're an Alvis man, aren't you, Richard?
I'm an Alvis man, I'm an Alvis.
You're an Elvis man as well. Alvis,
Alvis,
first time on British soil. Okay.
Well, it passed across British soil on its way out. So it's his first time back when it was built.
Well, it's the first time on British soil, and the Alvis was renowned for its superb engineering and graceful, elegant luxury motor cars, many of which were tailored to their owners' requirements. Alvis never produced a complete vehicle, instead sending their chassis to coach builders such as Park Ward, Van der Pla, Charlesworth, and Grabber. And this car was received by Grabber in Switzerland on the 30th of April 1961. It received a few modifications over the factory specification.
Be the world's first supercar. Penned by Marcello Gandini for Bertone, the Miura is actually a contemporary of the Ferrari 275 GTB with quite a change in approach from the front-engine Ferrari. This early example was dispatched from the Lamborghini factory on the 2nd of September, so almost its anniversary.